that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day, home and away.
Welcome to Home and Away, a Tottenham Hotspur podcast hosted by myself, Graham Spice, and Glenn Cowie, where we discuss all things Tottenham Hotspur with both a match-attending and international supporters view. Glenn, are you good?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm living vicariously through teams in the Champions League, I guess. I've got to my right what they call Matchday Live, which we can only dream of, I suppose, Graham, of being back in that competition. The handshake through the bars of the... what pub was that in Madrid for the Champions League final seems a lifetime ago.
Hard Rock Cafe, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know if we'll ever be back to those heights, but on the whole, I'm pretty good, other than Tottenham's dismal form. But how are you, mate? You're back from Athens. Was it a fruitful trip?
Yeah, it was good. It was like a management offsite, so it was lots of team building and planning for 2025. Lots of steak last night. It was a very nice meal. And then flew back this afternoon. We've been
no Greek Tottenham fans found.
No, nobody. I just very disappointed. I would have, although I did get a late checkout in my room because I had a Tottenham shirt on. The guy behind the desk in the hotel said, "I love Harry Kane." I said, "No, me too."
Yeah, we miss Harry Kane.
That was quite cool. So but yeah, just generally. Nice dry weather. I can get used to that, especially as I left everyone in the UK drowning in rain.
Well, you'll take that, mate. You'll take that. Well, talking of miserable rain, I think it looked like it was miserable rain at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this past Sunday, and it was a miserable result to go with it. I'm just at a loss, really, as to. I'm confused by the comments by Ange after Easter feet, where he says we're not at the levels, we're not good enough, and yet he comes out after the Leicester game saying I couldn't have asked any more from the players. Well, I couldn't disagree more. I thought so many of them were so poor. And what the hell did he say to them at half time to come out in the first? But I tell you how, because it would have been Monday morning. I watched it. Because I got out for a run early at like 6. I came in and it was half time, and I thought, I'll make another coffee. And I heard the equaliser go in. And I was like, are you kidding? I was literally just kicked off, surely, because I wasn't going to miss much. Saw the replay of the goal, appalling. And then within 4 minutes, we're 2-1 down. I'm just at a loss as to what's he saying to them at half time, where he comes out so bullish after... not to our levels, not good enough, that's not the standards we set here, that kind of messaging, and then you go in half time 1-0 up and you come out and offer that.
And it's if it's fitness, 5 minutes after half time, you're not at your lowest, are you? It's not
correct.
You're going to fade towards the end of the game. You've had 15 minutes break, you've probably taken on fluids and some form of energy. You just don't expect the complete lack of concentration to happen just after half time. Yeah, I thought, from what I obviously didn't see it live, I just felt that all things considered, we did quite well in the first half.
I think we played good football in the first half. I thought that we asked the right questions. I was really impressed with the goal, like something to come from wide, and Richarlison almost, I mean, for me, it was a weird one because it wasn't like he looked like he really wanted it, in terms of it wasn't like a diving header, I'm going to win this. It was more fortuitous that he was there, but he was there because he was gambling, right, on it being put in there by Porro. But that's what you want to see from your number 9, yeah? So, yeah, a whole first half, and it was like, but it's the age-old thing, Graham. It's like, for me, and I've touched on this with messages to you and others that I'm in groups with, that in that scenario, when you're 15th in the table and you're staring down the barrel of a poor league position and potentially being sucked into it, and you're playing a team in and around you, just come out first 10, 15 minutes and keep it tight. That's all you need to do.
And this is the problem. I don't think that a Postecoglou team is going to be set up to fight for points at the bottom of the table. Just don't think we are. I think look at all the teams around us, and they're like Everton. They've had 2 wins out of 3, haven't they? Including the one against us.
Yeah.
Even Ipswich are picking up points. And like, if we're not careful,
We've got to go there. We've got to go to Ipswich.
and at the moment,
mean-
you wouldn't bet on us, would you? You wouldn't bet any money on us.
Not at all. And it's like I said in the messages to other people, where it's like, and I think Jamie O'Hara said so. I said, man, look, Jamie O'Hara, take it for what it's worth. He was a bit of a bang average player. His punditry skills fine. I think he's a bit of. He kind of reminds me a bit of the Donald Trump of football, in that he's a lot of bluster and a lot of talk. But anyway, I did agree with him. He was interviewed in the Sky Sports studio, Sky Sports News, I think it was, for 15 minutes or so after the Leicester game, and he said that there's other ways of winning games of football. You don't have to be this expansive, attractive game, and it takes discipline, it takes strength, it takes understanding, it takes making sensible decisions, it takes keeping it tight. And he goes, I'd take boring football right now to get 2 wins under our belt. And I couldn't agree with him more. In the situation we're in, we just need points, right? We need points on the board, and we need them quickly. And to your point, no pun intended, I don't see that happening under this manager in terms of the style, the way he says. I mean, that's not me sitting here and saying we must fire him. I just want to see more from a Postecoglou team in this situation. And it's quite fascinating to me. It seems to me that we're going to see that because he's not been fired. I mean,
Yeah.
yet.
We'll get onto that later on, but I think a lot of frustration in the stadium, as I understand. Chants, banners, just generally at the end of the match. I saw Postecoglou got shouted at again, and he came back out the
He
tunnel.
came back, which is just, I mean, and it reminded me, I've been so...
He's so
as I
sensitive, isn't he?
Yeah. And
He's like, honestly, he's very thin-skinned for an Aussie.
Correct. And I've been, as our listeners know, and you know, I live not far from where he was raised, and secondly, I'm not too far from the clubs, some of the clubs he coached and managed, and one of them is South Melbourne. And I've been to a couple of South Melbourne games, and it's raucous and it's fun, and there's a band, and there's talking of Greece, there's lots of good Greek food there, and they're loud, and it's Hellas, like it's this good fun. But his response to the fan reminded me of something I would see happening there in a stadium of 1,500 people at the lowest possible level of football, right?
I would not be surprised if before the end of the season he doesn't go full Eric Cantona.
Right, just lump someone, yeah, you can see it. And I thought to myself, you've gone down the tunnel, and then you've decided to come back. I was, what are you doing?
Antagonise him even more, doesn't it? It's just so stupid.
Well, it antagonises, and it also is at odds with what he said when he first arrived, when everything was going well, and he said, I'll be judged by the fans. That's why I'm here. I'm here to make them happy. But yet, when it's not going well, he wants to have a fight.
Yeah,
Strange behaviour.
I've not been impressed. Listen, he's under pressure. Everybody knows he's under pressure. But there's ways of handling it, and I don't think he's handling it. I don't think he's used to it. I don't know. I think this is... I don't... All of the things that he usually has control of, all the problems I think that have caused us to get to where we are, started by things that are out of his control. But the problem is, he's left with a group of players that are not able to execute his vision at the moment. But the problem with that is, he's not giving them any alternative. It's clear we can't win games playing the way we're playing. So why not change the way we're playing? I don't understand him. He's the most stubborn bastard alive.
Yeah. And I've used analogies where it's been like, I use an analogy for like business and work. Like I've said in the past, I'm in sales, right? If I kept saying to my boss, oh, no, I haven't done that and that, but it's going to change because we're definitely going to get that one and that one and that one. And it goes on and on and on. And it doesn't happen. I'm going to lose my job.
Yeah.
Right? And he's hanging himself, right? He is backing himself into a corner. In my view, his position is untenable if we get lion's share of players back and the performances are as weak, as poor, and they're not at the levels and we're losing games of football. Because he keeps saying, it will change. When we got so much talent to walk back into this team. Yeah. He's backed himself then, hasn't he? So it has to change. There's no two ways about it. It has to change then when players come back. Has to. If it doesn't, he's got, in my opinion.
The problem is, right, yes, we've got players coming back, but the players that are coming back are going to be our defensive players.
Yep.
Right? But since they've got injured, now all the attacking players are injured instead. Yeah. And they're not going to be back quickly. Some of them are going to be out for a couple of months. So I can see the news, and we can talk about, we'll talk about later on, about the transfer window. I mean, like, 2 days. 2 days to buy someone, and we've left it to the last knock-ins of the window, and now we're sniffing around players who I don't think we've got a hope in hell of getting. Like, Tell is the one that now is on everyone's lips, but we've got more chance of getting William Tell than him. Absolutely no chance.
Yeah. And I think, like, going back to the Leicester game, the thing that was stark to me was Girona looked like they just equalised against Arsenal. I don't know what that means for Arsenal. Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Dan Juma scored their first goal.
I saw that. Anyway, off topic there. Going back to the Leicester game, however we set up, or whatever personnel isn't available or is available, etc., etc., the one thing Leicester had in that second half was a desire to win. And you can't coach that at times. That just needs to come from probably man management. I guess it's that coaching maybe, or it's just influential talk. But that's my worry. They came out in the second half and they looked bang up for it. They looked like they would fight for every ball, which they did, and they wanted to win that game of football. We didn't. We just didn't. So it goes back to me, what's he saying at half time?
Again, they haven't won a game for ages, had they?
That's their first win in 8, I believe.
Yeah, and they had that new manager bounce, didn't they, early on? Did they win one?
Yeah, they did. They beat Man United, and I think they got another result, maybe against Wolves.
And then, so again, it's like we're so understanding and welcoming teams that are in the shit. But now we're the team that's in the shit. Who's going to be, what we need is Dr. Ipswich. Or Dr. Liverpool, someone.
For our listeners, not that anyone will probably care, but that Girona goal's been ruled out by VAR. I'm not sure why. I'll just look up. It's been disallowed anyway. But just going back to my point around desire and wanting to win. So you've only got to go to the stats of that game. And the telling stat for me is in the duels won. They won 60 to our 51. Ground duels, 41 to 32. Aerial duels were even, 19 each. And then successful dribbles, 10, 71%, right? We had successful dribbles, 6, 38%. It just tells the story, right? But and tackles won, right? Tackles won, 17 to our 6, 65%. 17 to our 6 tackles won, and interception 16 to our 9. Clearances 32 to 16. Clearances could be, I guess, read into that we were putting there a lot of cost. I don't know that we ever really were. I don't remember huge saves being made, but
just to have to remind ourselves that we were the home team as well, right?
Yeah.
With a full stadium of people behind us.
Yeah, which turned pretty quickly, and I know you've touched on that in terms of the inside of the stadium, and it seems to be more directed at Levy and Enik. And look, I said to you, whilst a change in board and a change in investment, we've discussed this, probably does need to happen, and it might happen when it happens, but that isn't going to change in my opinion, change the fortunes on the pitch right now. If suddenly Levy and Enik sold, it doesn't change anything in terms of, like, it just doesn't. So
it's not happening in the next 2 days, is it?
Correct. Both things can be bad at the same time, and I think that's what we're working with at the moment.
Yeah. I don't think that they're going anytime soon. So if those variables can't be changed, the only thing that can be changed is the manager, right?
Well, this is it, and I don't know what. I mean, maybe he's waiting, or
actually, there's 2 variables that can change our season. One is a flurry of signings before the closure of the January window, so we end up with strengthening in key areas of the pitch where we're going to be without players for months again, like a striker. And then just basically some of the players who are dead on their feet, we need replacements or at least backups. We need the squad depth needs to be greater than at the moment. It's, we can't even fill 3 seats on the bench without resorting to kids. And even our players on the pitch are going to be 18. It's insane.
And just one last thing on the Leicester game, like you have done some work on the average ratings, and you had Bentancur, I think 4.9. But for our listeners, this wasn't something that you just went and pulled from one source, right?
No,
it was kind of multiple sources to come up with a bit of an average.
Purposely took 3 sources just to get a better blended average.
Yeah,
I did think that Gray probably had one of his worst games for us.
He's also being asked to play left back again.
Yeah,
while we've got a left back on the bench.
And he could easily have been in that midfield, couldn't he?
Yeah, he plays with Saar, who apparently isn't fit.
And also, Bentancur didn't have a good game either.
No.
But yeah, we could easily have brought him into that midfield where he probably would have been more comfortable than being at left back and had an actual left back on the pitch. So, yeah.
And again, this probably plays into more like a bit of sympathy for Ange, but we're talking about a player in Reguilón who was on the bench, and we're saying he should have started. Over the last 2 years, we didn't want him anywhere near the club, right? He's had 2 lows. So that does kind of paint the picture of the situation we're in, and it's no other way of saying it other than we're fucked. But again, Mr. Levy, Mr. Lewis, or Mrs. Lewis, whoever it is, Miss Lewis, his daughter, or just Ennick as a whole, or Johan Lang, Scott Munn, don't get a left back on emergency loan then. Give us something for 6 months. Do something.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting. Like, I looked at the Leicester game, specifically at the players who played in that game, the ones that started. And just to give you an idea, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them have played at least 25 games this season already.
Yeah, and it's
two of those
as a jam.
Is Gray and Bergwald.
Yeah.
Played 25 games each. Do you think at the start of the season that was our intention? Clearly wasn't. And then I was really surprised that Kulusevski's played 32 matches. You said something really interesting, like Porro's 29 matches, Kulusevski 32 matches. Why are they not injured?
Correct.
If it is Ange. It's really interesting, right? Is it just that their natural game isn't based on their pace? I don't know.
Explosive pace, yeah.
But there seems that some types of player are more susceptible to it. Maybe it's just a physiology thing. I don't know.
But if we take Mickey van der Ven, or Arsenal just missed a penalty to make it 3-1. If we take Mickey van der Ven as an example, wasn't it well documented when he was he Wolfsburg? He had some hamstring issues, right, when he was there? Yeah. So
I think he's a gangly. He's quite a tall guy, isn't he? He's got long hammies.
Yeah.
But just after I looked at the team for Leicester, I looked at the whole squad as well, and I looked at all the players that had. So in total, we played 33 players this season in all competitions, but then I was interested to see like Reguilón has played 5 matches for us, 3 in the league and 2. These are appearances, not full matches necessarily.
Yeah.
He's played in 5 games. And as you said, this is a guy who we thought was gone 2 years ago, but he's played 5 matches. And then, where else? So Maddison's played 31. Feels to me like he's been left out more often. So I'm assuming he didn't start all those matches. 31 appearances. Brennan Johnson, 29 appearances. So that I thought he'd been injured more than that, but clearly not.
Well, and that's only... So if he's played 29 games, he featured 29 times, that's only, I think, 11 shy of the total games we played last season.
Yeah.
As a collective.
Here's a very damning one on our season. Timo Werner has played 24 times for us. 24. That's about 24 too many.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing was in terms of keepers, just to show you how disrupted the season's been. Vicario played 15 matches before he got injured. Forster's played 13. Austin's played 2. So actually, and then that's without Kinski's already played 5. So actually, we've played more matches without Vicario than we have with him this season already.
Yeah. It begs the question again, like, why are we listening to an interview with Ange Postecoglou after the Leicester game being told Sarr wasn't fit, and we've got a number 6 playing a left back again with a left back on the bench, and arguably Ben Davies, he could have slot out there to play left back, and then you could have just put Archie Bay where he's been playing quite well in the centre of defence, right? Even that I would have been okay with. It just
Could have played Olucisi again.
Yeah,
He was available.
So, talking about available, unavailable, I didn't have a great deal else to cover on the Leicester game other than just hugely disappointed. And but take also importantly, I don't ever want to come across or sound like this elitist, arrogant fan that, well, it's only fucking Leicester. Leicester played well. They played well. They wanted it more. And they were organised, they had desire, and more credit to him, right? A 38-year-old Jamie Vardy, I don't know what he puts into his body each
Red Bull,
week, but he seems, Red Bull, right? He seems to show up, and I'd take that player in a heartbeat right now.
Prick, isn't he?
He's horrible, but you take in this team, he's like elite. I mean, I think in a can of Red Bull, there's probably more fight than what we have collectively, let alone Jake Flaherty. So Leicester played well, and probably deserve the 3 points. But pivot into, obviously, we've got Elfsborg coming up.
And I think we're worse now because we picked up more injuries in that game.
Yep.
So the only, and of course, the issue here is not just the additional injuries, but also the ineligibility of
so no Kinski, no Spence, and no Reddy.
So that leaves us with a squad to pick from, plus kids, of Brandon Austin, Fraser Forster. I think Vicario might be back. I've seen him in training.
Vicario?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He may be back, but I'm not sure whether he'd risk him. He'd probably play Brandon Austin, I'm guessing. Porro, Dragosin, Ben Davies, Archie Gray, Mickey van der Ven is likely to be...
and I'd be fine with him being on the bench and getting 10, 15.
I don't even care. I'm really worried about him picking up a knock or something. But I suppose he'll play at some stage. Bentancur, Bergvall, Moore are the only midfielders we've got. Oh, unless you include Kulusevski. And then we've got Son. And then
obviously the kids that we've obviously got the likes of Josh's favourite, Casanova.
Yeah.
And a few others that have been on the bench. So
Lancashire as well, I guess, is probably it maybe even start. He has done it at my Europa game at least, hasn't he?
And thanks to your ever brilliant note taking and research, if we pick a load of kids, who are Elfsborg? Like, are they? First off, can they even qualify or anything? Are they just out?
I don't know. They've got 10 points. So I don't know where they're probably going to be in the playoffs, I would guess.
Oh, yeah, so they're 20th. So
they've beaten Roma and Nice.
I mean,
and Karabakh.
Results go their way and they lose the game, they can still go through. But they're probably rocking up to Tottenham, and they're probably they might well play for a point or something, and that might well set them up quite well. So, but they're not playing league football at the moment, right? Explain that to me. It's because of the season is not running at the minute for them?
Frankly, I think it's because it's so bloody cold up there that they stop playing in November and they restart in March, I think it is.
Yeah.
So the season is like a spring, summer, autumn period, I guess. But they're so interesting, right? For them to get to the point where they play in the league stage, like with us, they played 8 qualifying matches. 8
to get there.
To get there. So they actually played as many games to get there as they will do in the league stage. And so far they've had 3 wins and a draw. They beat Rome, Nice and Karabakh, and they drew with Braga. And even against Galatasaray, who you remember we lost against, they lost as well, but they lost 4-3. So they scored 3 goals away at Galatasaray.
Yeah.
And they also lost 3. They lost 3 then to Alkmaar, but they scored, again, 2 goals away from home against Alkmaar. They're not. And just look at their manager's name is Jimmy Thelin. I think that as I read, they have a high pressing defense.
3-4-3. So they play 3-4-3.
It sounds a bit like they are similar to us in that they will press our defense. They're good on the transition from defense to attack, so they're a little bit like counter-attacking, but they try and recover the ball in the higher areas of the pitch like we would like us to do. And here's my biggest worry: set-piece proficiency. Elfsborg places significant emphasis on set-piece situations, both offensively and defensively. They have developed intricate routines designed to maximise scoring chances during free kicks and corners. That sounds like our worst nightmare, doesn't it?
Yeah, so better than us, basically, in terms of set pieces.
I was really optimistic, and now the more I read, the more I think this has got us losing 2-1 all over it.
Well, especially, and this is nothing on, let's call them the lesser knowns or the kids or the ones that you wouldn't expect to play in the Premier League. Nothing on them coming in, but we've got previous on this, right? When we seem to mix it up, so to speak, we look lost, we look bad, and the same happened at Tamworth, right?
Yeah.
So if we do that, and I don't know what kind of a crowd we get there for this. I mean, maybe we get 35, 40,000. I don't know. I mean, but I can see it going wrong quickly. But funnily enough, I've been toying with, do I watch it live, right? So, and the reason I'm toying with that is because it kicks off at 7 a.m. for me. But Friday mornings are quite important to me in that there's a group of guys that we meet at the beach and we do a 6:30 a.m. workout and we jump in the bay and it's just a good group. So, and that actually makes me feel really good. So I'm like, I think I might go do that and just start the game on delay.
Yeah, I think you might need the extra mindfulness before you start watching that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of doing. So I'll be on a bit of a delay. I will watch the whole game, but it might not be live. I just think, knowing what that does for my mindset, I think I'd rather be in that position, like you said, than just starting it.
Yeah, otherwise, if you did it the other way around, you might walk out into the sea and never come back.
Exactly. Well, I'm just for our listeners or for you as well. But City won. They will play either Real Madrid or Bayern Munich in the playoff. So they're
so fantastic.
Yeah, they've got work to do there, and it should be. The way they've been playing, I can't see them being either of them. But anyway, there we go. So back to Elfsborg, though. I don't know, mate. I can see this. One, is going to be really interesting to see who he plays. And then secondly, does he risk the likes of Amanda Ven on the bench and gives him 10 minutes, 15 minutes? I don't know. You're saying I hope not, but then there's an argument to be made. If he doesn't get something in the legs before Brentford, assuming he's going to feature against Brentford, would you hope that he wouldn't break down in that game? I don't know. There's two ways of looking at it.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
So we'll see. But from a prediction point of view, first off, you'll be watching live, right? It's going to be on TV in England. You're not going.
Not for this one. No, I've been away a lot this week. I don't think my wife would appreciate me disappearing for another day. We've got lots going on here tomorrow as well. I've got people coming to the house. I can't really be away again. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely watching predictions.
Yeah, I mean, I can honestly see a score draw. I think it looks like, I'm looking at the table, and I'm sure I'll get clarity on this. I'll look it up. But it looks like a point might be really good for them, and they can qualify off that or get into the playoff, and that would be brilliant outcome for them, I expect.
Heart says 2-1 to us. Head says 2-1 to them. Honestly, I can see us losing it. The more I look at them, it's literally like if you were going to describe a team who would be our arch nemesis, this is it. And actually, the fact that, if we had a full team out, you'd probably think we'd be too strong for them. We don't. In fact, we're far from our best team out. And I guarantee you they'll be up for it. This will be a big game for them. They will absolutely want to come here and beat us. So, and I just need to see the same amount of energy and fight in our players that they will bring. And I just don't
see getting. Yeah,
don't see us matching it.
Okay, so full prediction then from me. I've changed my mind. Still score draw, but Ange Postecoglou does an Eric Dyer and ends up in the stands.
I'd love to see that.
Goes out in a blaze of glory.
Yeah. Actually, we better if he climbed up into the stands and punched Daniel Levy.
Fun times. Well, let's see what it brings. But we touched on it earlier, mate. On to transfer rumours. Now,
Yeah.
you touched on Tell. Apparently, we're interested.
Yeah, but like Chelsea have been after him. But then if he wants guaranteed game time, he ain't going to get that at Chelsea, I don't think, because they can't guarantee everyone game time, which is what they seem to be trying to do. And then apparently Arsenal was sniffing, and Man United as well. So I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, I haven't really seen enough of him to think whether it'd be a good fit for an Ange team or not. But at the moment, I'll take numbers. I'll take it. A decent player who can play across the front, I guess, is what we could expect.
What's interesting is, you touched on it, so I'm looking at Fabrizio Romano's screenshot of the tweet my mate sent me earlier, and he's usually on the money, right? So it's Man United and Tottenham are amongst 7 clubs interested in the last 24 hours as a potential loan option, which does make sense. More options on the table for Tell as he wants game time guarantee after his leave Bayern. I don't know, mate. He says he wants games, but I can't see him picking Tottenham over Man United, actually. Man United have made a change. They're at least going in a direction where they're looking like they're sorting it out to a degree. Yes, it's not been great, but they've got Amaron in. I can see that happening over coming to Spurs, or as you said, if Chelsea are in, will he get the game time? But that's a weird one for me. And then the other two, again, Tyler Dibley.
They're for the summer, aren't they, though?
Yeah, I mean,
getting them in this. Dibley's injured. He's going to be out for 3 or 4 weeks.
The only like rationale I have in the Dibbling transfer would be if it did happen now, it's
probably Southampton.
Well, he'd loan him back. We'd probably loan him back, and then are we just trying to secure his services, much like what we did with Bergvall or Vuskovic, in that we wanted to get them signed
before
and then we bring them in. Yeah, before someone else, exactly. And then this is a wild one which I hadn't heard. Is apparently Johan Vissar from Brentford.
Yeah, I saw that one today as well, which is interesting.
I mean, Thomas Frank strikes me as a guy and a coach that's got a really good thing going there and has a bit of harmony with the team. And I've seen some like behind the scenes stuff of him in the dressing room with the players, and it doesn't look like a club I'd want to leave to come to this shit show.
That's true. And also, I don't think if we were going to buy one of their attacking players, I'd rather Brian Mbeumo, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I think he's a better player. And I don't know, I don't think is he that much better than other players that we've got? Maybe it's a numbers thing again, we just want bodies, but I feel like if we're going to, that's going to be a significant investment, right? And if we're going to spend that kind of money on a player, he has to be better than what we've already got. And maybe he is. Maybe he's the long-term Son replacement, or or he's an actual winger that can go both sides of a player, which we seem to be struggling to find.
Yeah. And then the outs are Yang Min Hook has gone to QPR. Have you seen their video on their Twitter?
Yeah.
Like how they've announced it?
I thought maybe Bentancur had directed it. It was a bit stereotypical. I know it was either that, or it was either going to be Squid Game or Gangnam Style.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope he gets game time there.
I think it's a good move for him, right?
Tighten him up a bit.
I mean, Championship. Where I should have known this before we come on here, but where are QPR in the table? Like, are they struggling or what?
I think they're doing better than they were. I mean,
they're like mid-table. So
the thing is, it still strikes me as being absolutely bonkers, given the amount of injuries we've got, to let a fit player go out on loan who could play minutes for us in cup competitions.
Well, he could have played against Elfsborg. He could play. Yeah, I mean,
I'm not sure he could have. He wouldn't have been registered, right?
Oh, good point.
But in the next round, like the knockout rounds, he could have.
Yeah.
Oh, and we've still got the FA Cup game coming up.
Yeah, Villa away, of course, and they're going pretty well. But Yeah, well, good luck to him. Hopefully,
And if he's not better than the 18 and 19-year-olds we've got coming through the academy, why did we buy him?
yeah, well, this is it. Exactly right. Exactly right. Is it? Was it purely a commercial decision based on Son having a year, maybe two left, and we need that poster boy career in the door?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past. We touched on this last week, or the last episode we did on the whole Levy Ennick thing. Someone said to me, or someone said in a WhatsApp group I'm in, started to think there must be something going on with Levy and Ennick, maybe an investment or a sale. How could you not have signed a single outfield player in these circumstances? It's absolutely ridiculous. So, I mean, I'll put that to you, mate. Do you think there's any... A, it's indefensible, right? But B, is it defensible if they were to come out and say, we haven't, and this is the reason why, and then it happens very quickly and there is a new investment or sale? Where do you sit on that?
I think, funnily enough, I saw someone else being interviewed or part of a panel discussion about this as well. And he said that he thinks that the salaries to income 42% that was bandied around this week by the Deloitte, or it feels like fattening the calf up for a sale. Like they're making the books look absolutely squeaky clean for either an investment or a sale, and maybe that's the case. And I don't think there'd be a lot of people would be sad to see them go, or would be sad to see different investment come in that would hopefully be directed towards the pitch and not towards the hotels.
Well, and I've talked about this before, maybe not as much on this podcast, but I've found it quite strange that we've gone now. When did the stadium open? It was April of 2019. And yes, we had a pandemic in there that absolutely affected things and had an impact on what you could do and what you couldn't do within that stadium. But we're still Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. There's still no naming rights have been sold. So surely logic would tell you that surely that plays into it, right? Whoever it is, surely they would have a play at having it be the X stadium or the X arena, or like the Emirates, like they have. It's
maybe they've been saving it for exactly that reason, that it's an additional selling point for the investment in the club. And actually, who was the guy that they had as a commercial director who was supposed to be the guy getting the deal done for that? He didn't last very long.
I can't remember who it was, but I remember the backstory to it. It just seems to me, if there's anything Levy's good at, and we touched on this and we won't need to go over old ground, but if there's anything Levy is good at, it's running a business. And he, as I said last week, if he's done anything right, he's put us on a fairly good footing for new investment and a powerful club in terms of like what we could become with the right investment. But it just seems odd to me that a man that's such a good businessman, so good with commercials, would leave it for 6 years and not have any kind of naming rights. That's just missed revenue, isn't it? Surely that must play into it.
We could have had like 30 million a year for 6 seasons.
Correct.
Ready by now, couldn't we?
Yeah.
And that would have been
any number of it, yeah.
That would have paid for his hotel.
Yeah.
Which is 300 million, by the way, the hotel. 29th floor hotel, 300 million.
Does it even, and I know very little about it, but it doesn't, so does it incorporate where it connects to the stadium? Or is it just completely separate?
It's in the land behind the South Stand.
Okay. Yeah.
So between Park Lane and the South Stand.
Yeah. Well, and again, I sit somewhere in the middle on, like, I've heard fans say things like, I would have just taken staying in White Hart Lane for proper investment. I was like, yeah, but I don't actually think the two can coexist together. Like, I don't ever think we were ever going to become anything bigger staying in that ground. I think the move was needed, and I'm quite happy with that. It's just the fallout since the move is what everyone's really pissed off about, right? We've not progressed.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, but so the window's been open since the beginning of January. We played 7 games in that time.
Yeah.
And we've had not a single on-field reinforcement. It's neglectful, right? I mean, any any business with a crisis like this would actively try and address it. I don't understand. Even if football isn't their primary concern, because it's just a vehicle for revenue to allow them to pay off the financing for their real estate investments. It's what it feels like at the moment. But even if but surely it should be the marquee piece of the portfolio. It's the publicly visible piece. So I don't understand it. Maybe you're right. Maybe there's things going on in the background that we're not party to. We know that there have been people sniffing around the club, right? Because we saw Amanda Staveley, that's it, and others maybe. So yeah,
be interesting to see what plays out from it. But yeah, again, as you pointed out, it's coming into the transfer window slamming shut on Monday night, I think. And also, that's neglect, but also the other thing to consider, right? If there is new investment or there's a sale, that usually equals change in manager, right, at some juncture. So would Ange's days be numbered anyway if that was to happen? Like, would they want their own guy in? Quite possibly.
Probably. I would say. Yeah. I would imagine they would have someone in mind. And you would wonder if it was Staveley, whether they go for Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
But with him before, I don't know whether or not that he would feel like a competent manager who has improved players and built a strong team. And there's a lot to be said for that.
Well, funny story, I actually met him. I think I sent you the picture.
Oh yeah, so I remember you saying he was when Spurs Newcastle game, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's Spurs Newcastle weird post-season game. I was walking to the office on a Friday, and it was one of those double takes, and I was like, it was literally as I was about to take a right into my office, and I thought, I said, how? And then I was like, he was really nice though. Like, I got a picture with him, and he's lovely, like a nice bloke.
Yeah,
like out for a walk, and yeah, nice guy. But at the time, I actually said to him, any interest in the England job? And he kind of just smiled at me, and that was after, obviously, just before the Euros, when I thought Southgate was going to be gone anyway. But yeah, so yeah, maybe we'll see what plays out. But
I think that with the change of regime, it will be a clean sweep.
Which again begs the question: would it happen mid-season now? Like, I guess Newcastle didn't it? Like the new investment that happened there, it happened in like from memory, I want to say it happened in like October or November when they got the new investment in a season. So I guess doesn't have to happen in the summer, right? In terms of a new investment.
I think the other thing but it's actually the investment means nothing to us apart from twice a season, right?
Correct.
So and that's the point. So if it doesn't happen in the next 2-3 days, then the summer is really the next big thing. And actually, I think what do you think the criteria is for Ange still to have a job in the summer?
It's funny, right? This very question was asked in a group of lads that I'm in with here, good mates, and obviously all Spurs fans. What was my response? My response was something along the lines of, if we get to the League Cup final, and whether we win it or not, progress to the quarter-final of Europa, and beat Villa away, and then if we reflect on the season, we do all those three things, but we still finish 15th, I think he keeps his job. Because I think looking at that, if we look at that holistically and say, well, we've wanted progression in domestic cups, we've wanted to go further in Europe, which we've not done for a long time, that for me, holistically and subjectively, is improvement. Now, whether or not any board would see it that way remains to be seen, but that would be my remit. And obviously the prerequisite is you obviously stay upright, so thus finishing 15th or higher.
That's how low we've fallen, right?
Yeah, well, this is it, right? And by the way, none of those things on what I'm seeing at the moment are guaranteed to happen, right? On current form, Liverpool should smash us, Villa should beat us, and I don't actually see us going that far in Europe. But if we can somehow sort it out from a squad perspective and get players back, and everything comes out as he's saying it will, because Graham, he's saying that. He's saying, when I get players back, we're going to be so good. That's essentially what he's saying. So that would be my...
I think he'll still be saying that as he's picking up his P45.
Yeah, quite possibly.
I don't think he's going to last the season.
So Where's the end for you then?
I think he has to win something.
Okay.
I don't think anything else would appease the fans. I don't know about the board. I don't really care about the board because if they don't back him, and I'll say it won't necessarily be all his fault. I think there'll be enough culpability to go around. I think the board will take a lot of the blame, and they should do. But I just can't see it. I don't think, unless he shows significant improvement in the squad and the play and all of the weaknesses that we know are there, which I can't see him doing because he's not going to change, then I could see him being around till the summer and then being replaced, which is a shame. But realistically, we can't afford another season like this, can we?
I don't think we've ever had a manager as blunt as an honest, and I don't think we'll ever have a manager as blunt as an honest again. Like, I think he's certainly a bit of a breath of fresh air in that sense. And I'm just looking to refresh my mind, but season 2014-15, I thought we finished lower than this, but this is going to completely undermine my point I was about to make. But I was going to say, Poch got us to a League Cup final in his first season. We lost to Chelsea, and I thought we finished 8th that season, but we actually finished 5th.
Yeah.
So where I was going with that was if we can somehow salvage 12th, 11th or 10th place and get to a cup final, even if we don't win it, does that save his job? But I don't see how that does. But you're right, you're probably right. We've got to win something, haven't we?
Yeah, I don't think even we've done progressing to latter stages of cup competitions already. I don't want a participation trophy this season. We either win something.
You don't want to. I've got to read it. I've heard about Hugo Lloris's book. You don't want to watch for making the final.
No, exactly. Yeah. I feel like we should want more for ourselves, and I don't think he would be happy with that either.
Well,
because that's a second season thing, isn't it?
Take this for what it's worth. When Spurs get to finals, wherever I've lived in the world, I tend not to miss them. There's always been circumstances out of my control where I have missed them. I'll save that for another episode on some stories. But I'm even in the back of my mind, should we somehow get to that final and get a result against Liverpool, I'm even on the fence in my own mind of, do I really want to spend all the money and travel for fucking hours, which is a 30-hour journey, by the way, and come for probably no more than about 7 days, to probably see us lose another final. Right? And that's very unlike me. Like, I'm usually just all in on, we're in a final.
I think I used all of my energy up this season so backing him when not everybody has been.
Yeah.
And I've we've both been quite positive about wanting him to succeed, but I'm starting to think that the injuries are covering up another fundamental issue, which is there's no fight in this team.
Well,
it's a one-trick pony.
And should we get to the final, and if I did make the trip, the one benefit I would say, we could do an episode in person. I could come to the studio.
That'd be absolutely bonkers, wouldn't it? That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. But no, mate, we're going to obviously do another episode pre-Brentford, but I don't have a great deal to add other than to say, as always, come on, you Spurs. Do something, please.
Thanks to everyone who listened in. Please like and subscribe to the podcast to tickle the algorithm so we can get in front of more Tottenham supporters. And to close us out, as Glenn said, come on, you Spurs. You can contact us on email at tottenhamhomeandaway@gmail.com or on Twitter X @TottenhamH&A.
Let me be the one that you turn to, someone you can rely on, closer each day, home and away.